What's up, everybody? I'm James. Welcome to Mechanical Mayhem, and welcome back to the story-driven campaign playthrough of Mechwarrior 5 Clans. We're going to watch all the cutscenes, do all the stuff, and we're only going to use stock loadout on mechs. And when I say stock, I am now referring to mech loadouts that the game provides for us. I will not be doing any custom builds myself. I said that because this is the last recorded mission before Trials of War came out. So, part 15 forward, I'll have access to the hero mechs, and we might use a couple of these. These are not necessarily stock cannon loadouts per se, but members of the clans would have unique loadouts for the mechs that they would pilot. So, we'll just treat it like that, and we're just going to have fun and make use of it. But I will not be customizing any builds in this particular video because I want to keep it as close to just everything being stock and quote-unquote canon as possible. So that is why we are going to use no custom builds here. With that said, this is the last one, like I said, before Trials of War came out, so we don't have to worry about that here. In any case, welcome to part 14. We are taking the fight to the enemy on Turtle Bay, so strap in and prepare for drop. Alright, time to establish some air superiority. This is an interesting mission. We get a little bit of support by two mechs from Granite Star. And we get to more or less deny assets to the enemy, which is always a good call. So basically, as we're being told by Demo Presenter, there's an airbase here that they're trying to get mothballed bombers from and make use of. Now, it should be noted, they're not trying to get these assets to make use of them because they don't have them. They definitely have them. They just need more, right? We are bleeding them out. And as such, they're trying to get their hands on more assets, and denying that to them will do a twofold approach. We'll keep them from having them, obviously, and whatever the assets they use to try and acquire will be dealt with further, bleeding them out. It's very interesting how organized and supplied this crime syndicate is, right? And we know why that is, but what really strikes me as odd about this is we are definitively dealing with their forces. We have setbacks along the way, but I wouldn't really worry about calling anything a failure in terms of this theater of the campaign. Remember, this is one of 10 systems being attacked simultaneously, and we have Turtle Bay, and now we're dealing with dissidents in the form of a crime syndicate doing basically guerrilla warfare on us. So, Galaxy Commander Perez really does not view them as near peers, and they really are. This is the inner sphere we're talking about, and they pretty much are near peer in fighting us, Prime Syndicate or not, because they're very well equipped and supplied for what they are. As you see, I am piloting the Hellbringer Prime. The Hellbringer Prime is one of my favorite clan heavy Omnimechs. It is not very well armored. And you'll see that in action. I don't lose any components, but you'll definitely see certain parts of the mech are going to take pretty decent damage fairly early on. But it dishes out some damage. It's a very good damage dealer. It is a little hot and spicy, but it also has electronic warfare and countermeasure capabilities, so that's pretty cool. It's the full package of just being offensive and crazy. I am doing a stock loadout run, as I mentioned in other videos. And this is a stock cannon loadout. However, we don't have any anti-infantry pods strapped to our legs. In place of that, they gave us armor pods, which is, I don't know if it's in place of that, but we have armor pods there. We don't need anti-infantry pods on our legs because we don't have anti-infantry worries at all in this game, right? We don't deal with any infantry. So, no reason to represent that in the game on this map. Anyways, ERPPCs, extended range particle projector cannons, these are my favorite energy weapons in Battletech. My favorite kind of, I think, equipment in Battletech, period. So I have a Blackjack here. And we're going to make short work of it. We got a lot of shots off into that center torso and 2 ERPPCs. There's no laughing matter. This Javelin will last a little bit longer, but not by much. And we'll be taking out as well. So we have turrets. We have vehicles. We're definitely getting things a bit spicier to deal with against us. Higher weight classes right off the bat. Different equipment in the tanks and turrets. And you can see my arm is hurting decently well for being this early on, but I do take note of that, and I do specifically try and mitigate further damage being dealt to it. That Wolverine, though, took pretty good damage in short order. I think the Hellbringer Prime is the tipping point where we are starting to gain access to stock loadout mech chassis that can bring a lot of damage to the table. At this point, with the exception of the Summoner, which is more of a dueler mech in its prime configuration, in my opinion, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But at this point, I feel like we're just going to see now more of a increase of survivability alongside the damage output, right? Like now the mechs are becoming survivable, and the damage we're dishing out is pretty respectable. Really, from this point on, the Mad Dog Prime doesn't have bad damage at all, but it's more fire supporty. Now we're getting into the mix of brawlers and raw damage dealers, and survivability will be making its way in here as well. So we have another patrol to deal with as we make our way to the airbase, and this is the second time I'm recording everything for this mission because I failed the first time. Not due to being destroyed, my mechs were fine. I failed because of an objective, and when we get there, I'll talk about it more so, but what I will say is this. I've done multiple playthroughs of this mission, and I've never seen the enemy so laser focused on doing the objective before. That was a fast kill there. We have an engine kill followed by another engine kill, because we just deal crazy damage now. But yeah, there's an objective that's coming up that in my prior playthroughs of this mission, the enemy would focus on, but the moment you started shooting at them, they started focusing on you. And there the Wolverine bounces off our mech, which could have done more damage than it did. Thankfully it didn't. That's kind of a death from above tactic. It wasn't trying to do that. I set it up by kind of mashing its speed by moving backwards when it jumped up. So that was my bad. In any case, the other Griffin didn't survive much past that, which is good because we don't want it to. So, in any case, like I was saying, with that mission objective, I've never seen them so laser focus on it before that I had to redo this mission and re-record everything, and I definitely prioritized being proactive. I wasn't snoozing on the job either. It just, it was crazy how specifically proactive they were. So, now we dealt with that, what do you call it, patrol, we can move in and cripple the enemy bombers. We took out one already, long range, so we have two more to take out before they can escape. I don't know of any timer, but I wouldn't drag your feet on this one either. I would just go right for the jugular and take them out. So we didn't take out the bomber, we took out something else there, but hey, you know what? No big deal. So we took out the bombers. And while I understand Liam's sentiment, we don't want the enemy having these assets, and we're not going to make use of the bombers ourselves. So while you can never have too much firepower, this isn't clan tech. We're not going to be making use of it. There are things to be said about this with second line forces and whatever else, but that's a topic for another time. So in true sci-fi futuristic fashion, this air base is almost fully automated. You still need pilots and the like, but in terms of the day-to-day runnings and operation of this airbase, it's pretty much fully automated, so we can hack it. So we're going to upload codes to do just that, but we're going to have to hold out while the codes do their thing. Now, there's no defensive turrets here to worry about or to hack for our own purposes, but the enemy will bring in reinforcements to try and retake the base. Now, this is our broadsword dropship. It looks different from the enemy dropship Leopard right there. And what's cool is on the battle map, you actually see these things come in and go out. So it's a pretty cool, almost like strategy-esque or tactic-based game-esque viewpoint, which is pretty neat. So we have Granite Star elements supporting us. They have, I believe, a Nova and a Hellbringer as well, but their Hellbringer is not in the prime configuration. I forget which configuration it is. But on top of having enemy mechs to deal with, we have bombers to deal with. So we have a Jenner, we have bombers, we're going to have a crab, we're going to have a catapult to deal with. We're getting a nice little mix. Now in terms of fighting the bombers, and I did not realize you could not shoot through that. I was hoping to blow it up and still hit the Jenner. So I just took it out with PPCs, because why not? This catapult actually gets into a really nice firing position. I really like that it does this. It's programmed to do that, obviously, but I like that they did that. It makes total sense for the catapult to try to get up there and do its thing. Anyways, the bombers. The bombers are an interesting force to deal with, because when they make their attack run, they slow down and they're pretty targetable. Unless you're me and you're trying to and you don't realize that your RPPCs are a bit lower than you thought. But with laser-based weapons, which is pinpoint and hit scan more or less, they're pretty effective to deal with when they're making their attack run. When they're not in their attack run, the bombers move pretty fast and get out of range really quickly. So you have like a limited run to hit them when they come in. I really like the crab mech. I don't know, I just like its design. It feels pretty cool. But we kind of let that one go. Not because we're going to let it go, but because we're just trying to deal with the other stuff that's more pressing. It kind of runs away a little bit. But, you know, whatever the case might be. Okay, the dervish that's not looking so hot, so we're going to finish it off. And, well, there's an ally in the way, so I don't want to shoot my ally. But dervish isn't looking so hot. And then we have an enforcer, which is legged. And when a mech is legged, that's never good. So, it's on its last legs, if you will. I'll be here all week. Anyways, I'm just telling my starter, hey, finish off that enforcer. I got other things to do. And then we have the crab coming back. I guess he realized, oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to fight you. And unfortunately for it, it's alone. So it's not going to last very long. Not that it would anyway. But I actually like the crab. It's an energy-based chassis, more or less, and it's pretty cool. So now we're getting close to what I want to protect, which is that fuel depot on the battle map. I guess I'm not close enough to order them to go there. But this is where I lost the mission before, because we're going to have a primary objective pop up in a moment to protect the fuel depot. We took the base, so now they're going to try and deny us the base by destroying the fuel depot, so it's more or less ineffective for us. I'm going to go for a repair because I wanted to. Probably could have made it down there instead of doing this to even protect it more so. But I started setting my star there in advance. And you can see the fuel depot has a health bar. We don't want it to be destroyed. If it is destroyed, that is a failure of the mission. It's a mission critical objective. So the closer I get to it, the closer I'm going to order my star to do things. And I'm basically trying to get them to run blocker on this fuel depot. But the enemy is already there. Now I was having my star get there pretty quick, right? I wasn't dragging feet. I wasn't dragging my feet before either in the failed attempt. But the star got there pretty quickly for me. They've been peppering up the enemy mechs, but still the enemy is able to get this down to like into the 80% range. Now, when I got here in the other attempt, the first attempt, which I don't have the recording of, they took it down to like 50% or lower by the time I was able to get in firing range, because they just start off that much closer to it than you are. And those little fuel things are what they have to destroy, and they go up pretty quickly, and you can stomp through it and everything else as well. So the fact that we got here as fast as we did is good, because we're basically able to block them now. And what I was really surprised about in the first attempt was that the mechs did not respond to being attacked. I mean, they got destroyed, but like the assassin here is going to focus on me now. He didn't do that in the first playthrough. Or first attempt at recording this. Everything just focused solely on destroying the fuel depot. That, you know, everything they did shooting wise was just on the depot, and there's only so much you can do to take them out, while they're destroying much easier to kill fuel canisters or whatever. But no, now they're actually focusing on us, which is good. It helps buy us time and lets us keep the fuel depot at 75%. Which I was surprised at how high we got to keep it, considering my failure last time. So that was, you know, really good. But yeah, even taking advanced steps to get my star there to run interference, the enemy still got the fuel depot down to 75%. So we're going to have Naomi utilize a repair bay, and we're going to have, I believe, Mia make use of a repair bay. because, well, repair, Mia was kind of tied for lowest health left, lowest armor left, so I did that for Mia. And Naomi needs ammunition. And repair raids will give you ammunition on top of repairing you. So we used the ammo crate. It only was 40% ammo back. She burned through that. So we're going to repair her so she can have full ammo. Because a Mad Dog Prime is at its best when it has missiles. So now we have to destroy this other enemy force trying to come in and either level or take this base back. I don't know why they would. Consider they could, considering we destroyed everything else thus far, but you know, their hope is that we are wounded, I'm sure. So I do want to get this optional objective done of destroying the enemy bombers that are in the hangars. I don't really know what it does for us in terms of if we get extra Kerenskis or if we get a bit more experience or whatever it is. I don't really know, to be honest with you. I just do them because it's an objective and we gotta crush these spheroids as much as possible because Clan Skunk Jaguar is life. So, in any case, aside from getting an engine kill, I destroyed a couple of bombers. And while there is some enemy mechs left, I am also going to be further focusing on destroying these bombers. And we will destroy them right as the final enemy stuff comes in play. So, we get the bombers taken care of, and it's time to deal with enemy reinforcements. But it's 3 Sokols, not just 1. If you remember the Sokol fight when we had light and medium mechs, it went pretty well because they tuned it down. But I remember doing this when the game first came out. I got to that first Sokol mission and it was a slog. So they toned down the Sokols a little bit, but we also have higher tonnage now, so we can deal with them. There are 3 Sokols. 1 has LRMs, 1 has PPCs, and 1 has a bunch of autocannons. The autocannon is the one to prioritize taking down first. It has, I think, either 2 or 4 autocannons, and it has a lot of ammo and the ability to fire them pretty rapidly, as you're seeing. Now, it's not the most accurate thing, because it is kind of hovering around and sliding around while shooting at us, and we're moving, which is why I want to stay mobile. But of the 3, my personal opinion is focus fire the autocannon down first. Once you do that, you'll be able to be in the clear for dealing with the others a bit more effectively, in my opinion. Just be aware of what's arm mounted versus torso mounted, because torso mounted weapons can't go as high as arm mounted stuff, so if you have to get more distance to make use of your torso, go for it. So considering that the autocannon one is nearly down, I had my star focus on it a little bit while I kind of focus on the other one for a little. But we're going to take out the Sokol right now with a super fancy Streak SRM 6-shot. So we are now down to 2 Sokols. And it's at this point the Sokols start acting a little bit weird. This is the LRM Sokol over here, and it's not really doing much movement right now. Neither is Naomi, so neither are working out too well for themselves. Naomi needs to move further. My AMS, I do have an anti-missile system on the Hellbringer Prime as well. I didn't mention that earlier. It's a defensive thing. So we do have that to help out. But being mobile is the best defense against Sokols. And this is the PPC, not ER, this is just PPC, excuse me, Sokol that we're dealing with here. But their movement is very erratic, which I get is by design, but I think more erratic than I've seen them do before. We took out the second Sokol there. What I'm getting at is they are moving oddly for what I've seen in prior clears of this mission. And this one likes to spin around like it's a top, which, hey, I get it. That makes it a little bit harder to take them out or target to certain things. But I don't know. I feel like this was the easiest run I've had of it. Not that it's hard, but they did the least amount, and they're definitely drunk flying into buildings. So we have 1 engine down. This Sokol's almost down, and as you can see, it's going to a full top mode, which thematically is cool, but also very strange. But yeah, we take it down, and that's the end of the mission. If you're not careful, if you're not mobile, if you leave the autocannon one up, I believe you'll have a much harder time of it. But we do have more firepower, and they did tone down the Sokols because they were pretty tanky and pretty tough when the game first came out. And that's it. We have established air superiority. We have the base, we denied them more bombers, and we bled them out a little bit. We took down 3 Sokals, a bunch of mechs, and denied them bombers. So we are bleeding them down, right? They're losing assets, and that's the name of the game. So with that said, we have a decent amount of salvage components on hand because we can salvage the max amount. So we are going to try and build up our weapon components because they're pretty low, and I like to do a lot of weapon upgrades. But with that said, that is pretty much it for the mission. We have some research getting finished, right? Because remember last time we did max out our science labs upgrade. So we have now, between that and some extra scientists, 1,000 research points per mission. That's going to let us burn through some active research pretty efficiently. We have a plenty queued up, but we're going to quickly burn through those, because the only way from here is more scientists, but we're also going to prioritize, of course, repair before doing that, or in conjunction with doing that. But 1,000 per mission cycle means we're going to make really good headway on making our stuff even more potent, which is always good for us. So with that said, that is air superiority. We are pushing right along. Things are about to heat up in terms of being on Turtle Bay, so that's pretty cool. And we're going to see just how equipped and supplied and in cahoots this syndicate really is, I believe, as we progress onwards. So that's really it. Don't forget to check out your experience either, right? You don't want to forget to up skills on your pilots. I've done that before. You don't want to do that. I am prioritizing evasion. If you're not, you might have some other things you're adding into, but for me right now it's just all about evasion, so that's why I haven't touched anything else yet. I'm weird that way. It's just the way I like to do it. In any case, thanks so much for tuning in, stopping by. Hit that subscribe button if you've enjoyed yourself, or don't, it's fine. I'll be here either way, and until next time, take care.